Welcome to My Thailand Stories. You ever meet someone who makes you feel like you matter again? Like after years of being invisible, someone finally sees you. I'm reading you a letter from Neil, 49 years old, construction project manager from Salford. He lost £156,000 on 52 teak trees that were never his to buy. The woman handling the legal side knew Thai forestry law. She cooked for him when he was tired, held him when he told her about his divorce, made him coffee every morning, told him, "I want this forever." The land belonged to the Thai government. The trees were never for sale. She knew that the whole time. Let's get into it. My name's Neil, 49. Been managing construction projects for 27 years. Big commercial buildings, housing developments. I know how to read contracts. I know when numbers don't add up. I've caught contractors trying to pull fast ones more times than I can count. Or at least I thought I could spot bullshit. By early 2024, I had about £300,000 saved, pension pot and a buyout package. I wasn't ready to retire, but I wanted out of Manchester, out of the rain, out of the loneliness. Been divorced 8 years, no kids. Most nights I'd come home to an empty house and reheat something from Tesco. I'd been to Thailand twice on holiday, loved Kanchanaburi, the jungle, the River Kwai, the way life moves slower. An old colleague, David, had retired there 3 years earlier. When I mentioned I was thinking about Southeast Asia, he said, "Come visit," said there were investment opportunities. I flew to Bangkok in February. David picked me up. "The real money here's in land and timber," he said as we drove through town. "If you know the right people." Famous last words. We drove north for about an hour. Red dirt roads. Eventually we turned onto a track with a locked gate. Sign read 3 Pagodas Forestry Management Company. Thai bloke in his 50s came out. David introduced him as Vitoon, manager, clean shirt, excellent English. We drove into the forest. Massive teak trees everywhere, 30, 40 years old. I touched one. Solid. Real. That was the whole bloody point. Vitoon explained the investment. You purchase specific trees. They handle maintenance and government paperwork. Arrange harvest when ready. Each tree could be worth £3,000 to £5,000 when cut. What's the cost? £2,500 to £3,500 per tree, David chimed in. I bought 30 trees 2 years ago. Best decision I made. Made sense. Tangible asset. Trees I could see and touch. What about foreigners owning these? Can't own land in Thailand, Vitoon said. But you can own assets on the land. We've got a lawyer who specialises in forestry law. Jiraporn. She handles everything. We went to a site office. Walls covered with maps and charts. Vitoon pulled out binders of official documents. Royal Forest Department permits, he said. Everything looks legitimate. The owner, Oliver, is British, Vitoon added. He's back Friday. Stay a few days. On Friday I returned. European bloke in his early 60s was waiting. Silver hair, confident. Neil, he extended his hand. Oliver Bennett. Over 2 hours he walked me through everything. Paperwork, growth projections, harvest timelines. Made sense. David vouched for him. Most importantly, I could see the bloody trees. I'm interested, I said. How do we proceed? Jiraporn prepares all contracts and registration, Oliver said. She's coming tomorrow, actually. The next morning I returned. A Thai woman in her late 30s was waiting at the office. Professional grey suit, hair tied back, leather portfolio. Neil? She extended her hand. I'm Jiraporn. I handle all legal documentation. Her English was perfect, confident. We sat in the office. She pulled out folders. Let me explain the legal framework, she said. Foreigners can't own agricultural land, but they can own movable assets. Trees are classified as movable assets once they reach maturity. She showed me Thai legal code, translated excerpts, court precedents. I worked for the Royal Forest Department for 5 years, she explained. I understand these regulations better than most lawyers in Thailand. She knew her stuff, could answer every question without hesitation. Would you like to see the trees? She asked. We climbed into Vitoon's truck, drove into the forest. She pointed out different sections, explained tree ages, showed me a GPS device that matched coordinates to metal tags on trunks. We walked through the forest for maybe an hour. She'd stop at different trees, explain characteristics. Most investors don't understand how important proper documentation is, she said. Thailand's very bureaucratic. That's where I come in. I was impressed, not just by her knowledge, but by how thorough she was. "Let me buy you coffee," she said. "I can answer any other questions." We went to a cafe in Kanchanaburi town. She pulled out her laptop, walked me through registration processes. Thai bureaucracy can be frustrating, but if you know how to navigate it, everything's straightforward. Navy blazer, white blouse, professional. "How long have you been doing this?" I asked. 8 years, but I grew up around teak plantations. My father worked for the Royal Forest Department his entire career. She smiled. "I love this work. Helping people build something real." We talked for 2 hours. About Thailand. About what it's like managing projects when half the contractors can't read blueprints. She laughed. "Sounds like Thai government offices." When we left, she touched my arm. "I think you're going to love this. It's not just an investment. It's a connection to Thailand." Over the next 2 weeks, we met 5 more times. Each time she'd answer more questions. Show me examples of paperwork. We'd text between meetings. She'd send updates. Answer questions I had. One evening she texted, "Are you free for dinner? I want to show you harvest timeline projections." We met at a restaurant near the river. Small place. Quiet. She arrived in jeans and a simple black top. First time I'd seen her not dressed for business. "Needed a break from suits," she said, smiling. We ordered food, tom yum soup, grilled fish. "Most investors just want quick returns," she said. "You actually care about building something sustainable." She showed me projections on her tablet. But we spent more time just talking. About her divorce 3 years ago. About my marriage that ended badly. About starting over. "I thought about leaving Thailand after my divorce," she said. "But I love it here." She looked at me across the table. "I'm glad. You found us, Neil." She reached across and touched my hand. "Just for a moment. I'll make sure everything's perfect for you." Hell, of course I felt something. We had 3 more dinners over the next 2 weeks. Each time felt less like business and more like something else. One afternoon I wasn't feeling well. Some kind of stomach bug. Spent the day in my apartment sweating and miserable. Around 6 in the evening, there was a knock at my door. Jiraporn stood there holding a plastic bag. "Vitoon said you were sick," she said. I brought soup and medicine. She came inside, set everything on the counter. The soup was homemade. Rice porridge with ginger and chicken. My grandmother's recipe. Always works. She sat with me while I ate. Didn't seem in a hurry to leave. "You need to take better care of yourself," she said softly. "Thailand's heat can be hard on foreigners." After I finished, she washed the bowl, tidied up my kitchen. "Get some rest," she said at the door. "Text me tomorrow so I know you're okay." That did something to me. Made me feel cared for. Made me feel like I mattered. The next week, she suggested we walk the plantation again. Just the 2 of us. We drove out in her car, parked at a different section. She led me down a path to a clearing. The trees here were massive. Older. "This is my favourite section. These were planted in 79. She walked up to one huge trunk, put her hand on it. When I was a kid, my father would bring me to plantations like this. He'd explain how teak grows. The patience required. She turned to look at me. "That's what I love about this work. It requires patience. Vision." The afternoon light was filtering through the canopy. Warm. "I don't usually bring investors here," she said quietly, "but I wanted you to see it." We stood there, close. Then she smiled. "Come on, let me show you your section." She'd point out trees, explain growth patterns. Every now and then her arm would brush against mine. At one point she stopped. "Look up." The canopy overhead was thick, dense green. "You'll come back in 20 years, she said. "Walk through here. Know you built something that'll outlast you." She looked at me. "That's what I love about helping people like you. You're building legacy." I was falling for her. Not just because she was attractive, but because she made me feel understood. One evening about 6 weeks in, she texted, "Can I cook for you? At your apartment." She arrived with bags of groceries, took over my tiny kitchen, made pad krapow with fried egg. Extra garlic like I liked it. Sticky rice, papaya salad that wasn't too spicy. We ate on my little balcony, watched motorbikes pass below. "This is nice," she said. "Feels normal. Not like business." After dinner, we sat on my couch. She put her head on my shoulder. "I feel safe with you," she said quietly, "like I can just be myself." We stayed like that for a while. Not talking, just being. When she left that night, she kissed my cheek. "Thank you for tonight." The next morning, she texted, I want this forever. 3 days later, she brought up building a house. Not sudden, just casual. My mother has land outside Bangkok, past Kanchanaburi. It's quiet, peaceful. She showed me a rough plan drawn on paper. 2 bedrooms, open kitchen, maybe a garden. We could build something small, she said. You and me, start small. I didn't ask about land titles or building permits. I just imagined sitting on a porch with her, drinking coffee, listening to birds. 2 weeks later, I selected my 52 trees with David and Vitun, each one marked with a yellow ribbon. Jiraporn presented the final contracts. Once you transfer funds, I'll register the trees in your name, she said. I signed, transferred £156,000. She sent me a message that evening. Welcome to the family, your trees are officially registered. Then, I'm really glad you trusted me, Neil. For the next year and a half, I received quarterly updates, tree health, market conditions. Jiraporn would text occasionally. Photos of the plantation, updates on permits. Once, walked past your section today, trees looking strong. I felt like I'd built something. Not just an investment, a connection to Thailand, to the forest, to her. Then in August, everything started falling apart. Email from Oliver. Subject line. Urgent, harvest complications. New environmental regulations, permit issues, bureaucratic red tape. I tried calling Oliver. Voicemail. I tried calling Jiraporn. No answer. I texted her. Is everything okay? No response. Waited 2 days. Texted again. Jiraporn, I'm getting worried. Can you call me? Nothing. A week later, called David. Have you heard from Oliver or Jiraporn? No, David said. His voice sounded strained. I've been trying to reach them for 3 weeks. By December, I was seriously concerned. No responses, no updates. Nothing. David said he'd driven to the plantation 2 weeks earlier. Gate was locked. No one there. I decided to fly back to Thailand. I arrived in Bangkok in early February. Took a bus to Kanchanaburi. When I got to the plantation gate, it was unlocked. Hanging open. The office building looked abandoned. I walked through the gate, followed the dirt tracks into the forest. The yellow ribbons marking my trees were still there. The trees themselves stood unchanged. Massive. Silent. I returned to the office, tried the door. Unlocked. Inside the walls were bare, all the maps, charts, photographs gone. Just empty walls. Bloody hell. I drove into Kanchanaburi town, found an internet cafe, searched for 3 pagodas forestry. Management company? Nothing. Searched for Jiraporn and the law firm on her business card. Nothing. My hands were shaking. I tried calling her one more time. The number you have dialed is not in service. I sat there staring at my phone, at our text history. I want this forever. I feel safe with you. I'm really glad you trusted me. All of it's still there, all of it fake. I called David. Neil, he said quietly. Oliver's gone. Everyone's vanished. We met the next day. David looked 10 years older. There are 8 of us, David said. We hired a lawyer in Bangkok. He pulled out a folder. The land doesn't belong to 3 pagodas forestry. Never did. It belongs to a Thai government forestry reserve. The trees are government property. The floor dropped out. But the permits, the registration. Fake, David said. The Royal Forest Department's never heard of any of us. What about Jiraporn? Her law credentials? There's no lawyer by that name registered in Thailand. The law firm doesn't exist. I couldn't breathe. Did anyone go to the police? David laughed bitterly. 3 of us filed reports. They took statements. Told us there was nothing they could do. One officer said we were just unlucky. How much did you lose? £83,000. I lost £156,000. Over the next 2 weeks I met with the other victims. 9 of us, total. Total losses exceeded £800,000. We hired a private investigator. After 6 weeks he delivered his report. Oliver Bennett had run similar scams across Southeast Asia for 15 years. Estimated £3 million stolen. Jiraporn and the others were likely hired. Professional con artists. We'd never see our money again. I went back to the apartment I'd been renting in Kanchanaburi. The one where she'd brought me soup, where she'd cooked pad krapow, where she'd put her head on my shoulder. I sat on the couch where we'd watched the motorbikes pass, pulled up our text messages one more time. I want this forever. I deleted the entire conversation. Blocked her number even though it didn't work anymore. Sat there in the dark. I had maybe £12,000 left after paying rent and trying to sort the mess. Couldn't afford to stay in Thailand. Couldn't afford much of anything. I contacted my son, Ben. Hadn't talked to him properly in 2 years. We drifted after the divorce. I didn't want to tell him the truth, but I had no choice. Ben, I messed up. I'm in Thailand and I've lost everything. I need help getting home. He responded within an hour. Dad, don't explain, just tell me what you need. He sent money through Western Union. Enough for a flight and a bit extra. Come home, he texted. We'll figure the rest out. I booked the cheapest flight. Awful layover in Doha. 1 backpack. No souvenirs. Nothing to show I'd ever lived there. When I landed at Manchester Airport, Ben was waiting. He didn't say I told you so. Didn't ask 100 questions. He just hugged me. Let's go home. Dad, I've been back in the UK for 8 months now. I'm living with Ben and his family. Sleep in the spare room. Help where I can. Take my granddaughter to school. Cook dinner a few nights a week. It's not glamorous, but it's warm and dry and I'm not alone. I tried going to the police here. Filled out reports. Nothing came of it. Contacted my bank. They said the transfer was legitimate. I'd authorised it. Nothing they could do. I hired a solicitor. Cost me £2,000 just for the consultation. He reviewed everything. You can pursue legal action, he said. But you're chasing ghosts? I've talked to other blokes since then. At the pub. Online forums. Men who went to Thailand looking for something they couldn't find back home. Some were chasing adventure. Some were running from heartbreak. Some just wanted to feel needed again. We all tell ourselves we're different. That our situation is special. That she really means it. But when you're lonely enough, when you're tired and a bit broken inside, it's easy to mistake comfort for love. I don't hate Jiraporn. I don't even know if that was her real name. But I think about her sometimes. The way she brought me soup when I was sick. The homemade rice porridge with ginger. The way she cooked pad krapow in my tiny kitchen. Extra garlic. Just how I liked it. The way she put her head on my shoulder and said, I feel safe with you. The clearing in the forest. Her hand on that massive teak tree. I don't usually bring investors here. The text message at midnight. I want this forever. All of it calculated. All of it fake. She knew forestry law the way I know construction. She could discuss permits and regulations and land ownership structures. But she only knew it because she'd studied how to fool project managers like me. Every dinner was designed. Every text was staged. Every moment in that forest was scripted. The woman who brought me soup when I was sick didn't exist. The woman who cooked for me didn't exist. The woman who said, I want this forever, didn't exist. The 52 trees are probably still standing in a government forest in Kanchanaburi, with yellow ribbons bearing my initials. Real trees, real coordinates. Just never mine. Every night before I turn out the light, I thank God for Ben and his family, for not slamming the door when I showed up with nothing but a backpack and shame. They didn't ask for apologies, they just gave me a place to land. I'm not sure what comes next. I've got time and I've got people who care. And after everything that happened in Thailand, that's more than I deserve. That's my story. That's Neil's story. 49 years old, 27 years managing construction projects. Met a woman who knew Thai forestry law, who brought him soup when he was sick, who cooked for him in his tiny kitchen, who put her head on his shoulder and said, I feel safe with you, who texted him at midnight, I want this forever. He transferred £156,000. 18 months later, the office was abandoned. The land belonged to the Thai government. Jiraporn doesn't exist. Neil's back in Salford, living with his son, taking his granddaughter to school, cooking dinner a few nights a week. Jiraporn stood in that clearing, put her hand on a 45-year-old teak tree. I don't usually bring investors here, but I wanted you to see it. She was studying how to destroy him. This is my Thailand stories. Stay sharp out there.